Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to you, depending on whichever part of the world you are tuning in from. And I'm so excited, grateful for life, and in fact, I'm in a very good mood this morning as we are going to be taking another fresh new look at the financial market. Well, first of all, I would like to appreciate your patience. I had some technical issues as regards to my sound, and in fact, I had no other choice than to update the firmware after contacting the contact center for the product. But thank goodness things are quite fine right now. Please let me know in the comment section if the audio is good, and of course if the video is good as well. Your feedback goes a long way in helping me confirm that we are all on the same page, and at the same time try to give you a better experience out here. So I would really love to see your feedbacks in that regard, and thank you very much for staying tuned in. So, in preparation for today's trading session, I have conducted a comprehensive analysis on all of the assets on our watch list, and if using simple parameters, of course, such as trend lines, key levels, and chart patterns to gain valuable insights into the historical price movement of these assets. Well, so far this week so far we have been doing pretty well, as we have quite scooped in a significant amount of profit across the pairs, especially when we begin to notice that positive traction in favor of the US dollar immediately after the US holidays on Monday. So since the beginning of the week, we have been monitoring three major assets, which includes the GBPUSD, the XAUUSD, popularly known as the gold spot, and of course the USDJPY. And of course, we are going to be going into the details this morning to see how we are going to be I will review the position, and at the same time see how we can take advantage of potential trading opportunities ahead of both the London and the New York session. Well, the last 24 hours has been quite interesting, with very sensitive developments across the market. For instance, we've seen how the pound sterling has dropped significantly well, and this is as a result of the speech that Bailey's had yesterday. That's the Bank of England's governor, where he emphasized his uncertainty as regards to increasing interest rate for the pound sterling. And as a result of this, we've seen how the market has reacted to that speech. Price has dropped significantly. Well, will that continue? Well, that we will tell as we go into the business. Then on the gold too, we had some very interesting sell positions so far, and since the beginning of the week we've scooped in over 600 pips on that one, and this is as a result of the traction in favor of the US dollar. Now, question going into today is, will the gold continue to drop, or are there chances that we begin to see the gold cheap enough for majority in the market to start considering buying this asset? So all of this we are going to be looking at from a technical standpoint in a moment. And for those who are joining us for the first time, you are highly welcome on board, and I'm very, very grateful to have you around. Now, you might be asking, what is it that we are doing here? Well, as technical traders, we come here on a daily basis in anticipation of both the London and the New York session, where we review our position if we have any existing position running, while we also strategically position ourselves ahead of the London and the New York session. And of course, this happens on a daily basis. It starts 8:05. The stream starts 8:05 a.m. UTC on a daily basis, and I encourage you to be part of the session. Stay tuned in so that you don't miss out on the insightful ideas we shall be talking about today, and of course ensure to be part of the subsequent editions, as the more time you spend with us, the better you get in understanding how the strategy works, while you also eventually be able to use the information you have gathered here to make your own independent trading decision. So basically, we do the 1 hour time frame, which is our execution time frame here. If you do want to have a background knowledge of how we got to this point, then it is necessary you watch my video on all of these assets. The links are right in the description box below. They are duly time-stamped, so you can easily navigate to whichever aspect of the video is of your interest. So you might want to check them out. They are right in the comment section. So with that being said here, let's dive right into the business. But before we do, let me run through the comments I have here. All right, Tyson Brian, good morning to you. Glad to have you around. Otiraf, good morning. Thank you very much. Tyson Brian says the sound and video is clear. Thank you very much. I really do appreciate that. Richard Blackett, I see you. Princess Abulokwe, good morning to you, and thank you very much for your feedback. So with that being said here, let's dive right into the business. And as usual, the first thing we normally do here is to go into the economic calendar, as we all know that these fundamental factors often manifest on the chart in technical patterns and price movement. By monitoring the economic calendar, we can easily identify potential correlation between key economic releases and specific technical patterns on the chart, hereby giving us valuable information of better timing, and at the same time let us be able to anticipate the next potential move prior, during, and even after the event. So on the economic calendar, we normally focus on high impact events coming in from the economies that will be affecting the assets on our watch list. And for this week, we are going to be looking at the US, the United Kingdom, and of course the Japanese economy. So for Thursday, September 7th, we have one high impact event today, and that is the gross domestic product annualized for quarter 2. And for those who don't know, this is a very important event, as it provides insight into the overall health of an economy, impacting investor sentiment and influencing our trading decisions too as well. So this is going to be coming up in about I think about 12 hours from now. That is much more later in the day. And of course, since we are monitoring the USDJPY, we're definitely going to be seeing the anticipation of that event reflect on the chart as price action, hereby making us to have an insight of where price is likely going to go when the event happens. Then there are other impactful events here coming in from the United States, which is not included or grouped as an high impact event, but I think that they should be having a significant impact on the market. And these are, let me see right here, for Thursday. Okay, so we have the initial jobless claim count, which is coming up in about 4 hours from now. And this, for those who don't know, this is a measure of the number of people filing first-time claims for state unemployment insurances. Well, this has a major influence in the strength and direction of the U.S. economy, as it gives us an insight into the health. Hello everyone, welcome back. I'm sorry for the break in transmission. I didn't know what happened. I can't explain what happened. I had to reset my appliances here, and thank goodness, and I'm glad that we are back live on. So let's go back into the business and let's continue where we were. So we were analyzing the economic calendar. We were looking at the data that we are expecting today, Thursday, September 7, and in fact, we had a handful of speeches that we were looking at after including the medium impact event. So I'll be doing that again as it's no longer included anymore on the. All right, so we were looking at we talked about the GDP data coming in from the Japanese economy for today. And then we were talking about the initial jobless claim, which we talked about already. Then I said here that we are looking forward to speeches from members of the Federal Reserve, which of course everyone in the market will be looking forward to hear what they will be saying, and whatever they say today is likely going to be giving us an insight into what to expect during the interest rate decision, which is coming up on the 19th and 28th of this month. And also is going to be giving us an insight into or probably give us an insight into the expected recession that is the global recession that is already in the air right now, to give us an idea if the dollar is still going to be an asset we want to be placing our bet on, or we will be moving to safe havens such as the gold. So these are the high impact events we are going to be looking forward to today. So we want to be having the timing marked out on our calendar so that we can be around on our charts in anticipation of that event, looking out for patterns and structures that will guide our trading decisions for today. So with that being said, here we shall be diving right back into the charts, where we shall start taking a technical dissection of the current market structure. So the first asset we are going to be taking on today, it's going to be the GBPUSD. And for those who are with me, following me on both my Trading View and Telegram platform, you definitely will have gotten an update on how we said we are going to be managing our positions for today. Now let's run through how the week started for us on the GBPUSD. And like I said, the GBPUSD was a little bit on the choppy situation since the beginning of the week, though we had scenarios where we bought, we had scenarios where we sold to as well, but it appears the sell is the one that is dictating the pace so far this week. Now let's look at how the week started for us here on the GBPUSD. Now remember that we had our key level situated along the 1.2600 area, which was serving as our key level for the week. And you know how we use our key levels in this community. When price remains above the key level, we look out for patterns and structures that support the idea of buying that asset. And we are not going to be selling unless price breaks down that key level. And for those who don't know how we got the key level, I would advise you to watch our video on the Forex Morning Mastery with Sheriff Daramola on Monday. And on Monday, we did a top-down analysis of this asset and how we identify that key level. Very important. Now, going into the details here, beside the key level, we observed a range initially where price was confined within. And of course, the breakout of that key level to the upside was what triggered our first buy position for the week, as you will see here. And in fact, price moved significantly well. I think it moved about 40 pips thereabout. Let's see. It moved about 40 pips exactly. We saw price come back into this area, and I told us all that we will be looking out for more opportunities here. But unfortunately, the retest and buy opportunity above this area did not last long, as we saw price break down, retest that structure to inside our first sell position for the week. And in fact, since then, we have been selling the GBPUSD all the way to the downside. And as at this morning, we had roughly about over 100 pips in profit just from two positions. We had one right here yesterday after price broke down, retest the 1.256, and of course that ascending trend line to give us a bearish signal to join the bearish move, remember. And then we also added more position at the breakdown of the 1.25300 level. And for those who took advantage of this opportunity, well done to you for being on standby to capitalize on that move. And right now you will have a minimum of two positions running in profit right now, so you do want to be moving your stop losses right now to secure this current sell position, while we look forward to see how the market is going to be playing out today. Now, to move your stop loss right now, I will be suggesting that anywhere above that psychological level, that is above the 1.2500 area, seems most appropriate to secure this current sell position, while we look forward to see how far this bearish momentum will go. Now, with a well secured position, what is going to be our plans for today? What do we intend to do in this market? Are we going to be seeing buy pressure to incite a bullish momentum, or is the bearish momentum going to continue? Now, let's look at what has been going on here since last week. When was that? I think last week Wednesday right now. So it's over a week now that price action has been finding lower highs and lower lows. And as a result of this, we connected the series of lower highs, which gave us this descending trend line you will see on your screen right now. And for the fact that price still remains below that descending trend line, it makes quite a lot of sense that we continue to look out for selling opportunities. Now, let's extend that trend line further to the downside. Should we allow it to capture these other pivot lows right here? I think it should do, as majority of those pivot highs, around that area. So let's make it capture this one. So you want to be readjusting your trend lines to ensure that it captures most of the pivot highs. Now, with this current scenario we have here, there are two possibilities that could happen around this area. One of them could incite a continued downtrend scenario, while the other one could incite a reversal pattern that will incite an uptrend move. Now, let's talk about the potentials of sellers at this point in time. Now, we already have a breakdown of the 1.249 for those who are with me on both my trading view and Telegram. You saw we identified this one this morning, and I said that we are going to be joining if price action comes back to retest the 1.249. So if price comes back into this area and we begin to see selling pressure around this level on our lower time frame, then we want to be part of the downtrend continuation. However, we cannot ignore the potentials of buyers here, as you will see that since price tested the 1.246 area, in fact, I would like to mark that level out too as well. So we have the 1.246. Hold on a second. Let me see this through. Okay, so we have the 1.246 right here, another psychological level. So you want to be including that on your chart right now. And one thing we have observed here is some buy pressure in the last 2 hours since price tested that area. So we don't know how it's going to play out. Is it going to come here, retest the structure to incite a downtrend scenario? And of course, it could break out of the structure. And for me, I will be considering this as a retracement of that bearish impulse leg that happened yesterday. So if that happens, then we might likely be seeing a scenario where price comes back into that descending trend line, which of course shares a beautiful confluence with that 1.25300 area. Now, if price comes into the zone, we want to be very, very careful, looking out for how price action or how market participants will be reacting to this beautiful confluence. Now, if selling pressure resumes around that area and we see signs that buyers are finding it difficult to break out of that trend line, then this will be an opportunity to join the downtrend continuation. However, if price action goes on to break out of both the 1.253 and that ascending trend line, then this will be the first time price will be breaking out of that descending trend line, and it will be a very good signal that we are likely going to be seeing a momentum shift. And if that happens, I'm of the opinion that it will make quite a lot of sense that we wait for confirmations to happen before we jump into that position. And what confirmations are we going to be looking at? Well, as soon as we have a breakout of the structure, we scale down into our lower time frame, like the 5 minutes, 10 minutes, or even the 15 minutes time frame, to look out for such signs like this: price coming back to retest the structure, both the descending trend line and the 1.253, where continued buy pressure around this area will be all we need to join that uptrend continuation. So that is one way we are going to be capitalizing on any bullish momentum in this particular market. Now, you might be asking that, okay, if we look at the distance between the breakout of the 1.249 and that trend line, it's almost about 50 pips. Now, you might be thinking now that, are we going to wait the whole 50 pips before price action, when price action will now break out of that trend line for us to now start considering buying? Well, I'm of the opinion that we could still take advantage of a bullish momentum even before the breakout of that level happens. And one thing about that bullish opportunity is going to be considered to be a counter trend move. And if you are not comfortable taking counter trend opportunity, well, I will suggest that you stay clear out of this expectation I'm about to present to you right now. So if price action breaks out of the 1.249 and it comes back to retest the structure, where we see signs that sellers are finding it difficult to stay below the 1.249, and of course this would reflect on the chart as buying pressure around this area, then we could take advantage of this counter trend opportunity. And once we take advantage of that move, let's ensure that we are on standby to move our stop losses accordingly to secure this position. Remember, we are still within the seller's territory, and we want to be very, very careful about that. So once price continue to move in our favor, move your stop losses accordingly. If possible, move it to your safe, to the entry point, while we continue to monitor price action. And now, depending on how price would react to this trend line, and that 1.253 will now determine if we are going to be adding more buy position or getting ready to sell. And like I said earlier, continued selling pressure below the structure will welcome selling opportunities, which we, of course, will join, and will take out that buy position at break even, and then we ride that sell momentum to the downside. But if price breaks out of this trend line, then we shall be looking out for more opportunities to maximize the potential of this bullish move. So that is how we are going to be managing our position on the GBPUSD today. Now, another thing that could happen here is price could continue to the downside, breaking down the 1.246, and if it does, I'm going to be having a sell stop order below that structure to capitalize on the downtrend continuation. So let's be on standby to capitalize on any of this move. So our center of focus for this moment, at least for the London session, is going to be between the 1.249 and the 1.246 area, where, depending on where price breaks out of, is likely going to be determining the next move, probably in the next 4 or 5 hours or so. So these are my views here on the GBPUSD for today. If you have any questions whatsoever as regards to this current setup, feel free to let me know in the comment section. So I will be taking the next 10 to 15 seconds to see if there are any questions whatsoever, after which we will be moving on to the next financial asset. And you can as well use that time to mark out those levels on your charts. All right. So, in the absence of no questions, I want to assume that we are all on the same page here, and I do hope you've marked out these levels appropriately on your chart. And let's see how the market will play out in the next couple of hours. And please remember that for those who still have a sell position running, kindly ensure that you've secured this current sell position, as anything could still happen in this market. So, moving on right now. So the next asset on our watch list for today is my favorite, and that is the XAUUSD, popularly known as the gold spot. And in fact, since the beginning of this week, we have been selling this asset all the way to the downside. And in fact, at this point in time, if you had followed through with all the levels we marked out on this chart, you should be having a minimum of 6 positions running in profit of about 600 pips right now. And for those who had been part of this profitable journey since Monday, well done to you. Kudos to you for being on standby to capitalize this move. Now, let's run through how the week started so we can have a background knowledge of where we are coming from. Well, at the beginning of the week, remember that price started on a very strong bullish momentum. Remember, we saw price started at that support line here at the $1,939.50 level. And in fact, we saw the bullish momentum climb up into the 1,946, where it saw a barrier as buyers found it difficult to break out of that structure, hereby giving us a scenario that looks like a flat channel, giving us an insight into the level of indecision in the market. And of course, you know that in this community, whenever price action falls into this kind of range, we want to exercise patience, waiting for a signal which will come either in the form of a breakout of the resistance line to give us an opportunity to buy, or the breakdown of the support line to give us an opportunity to sell. And of course, we saw what happened on Monday. Price did break down the support line here to trigger our first sell position for the week. And in fact, we continue to ride that momentum to the downside. As you will see here, we kept on adding positions at the breakdown of the 1,935 level. We also added one more at the breakout of the 1,928.50. We had it at the 1,926. We had it right here at the 1,924 during the XAUUSD live monitoring window yesterday. And then we also added one more at the breakdown of the $1,992.50 level. In fact, it has been a tremendously profitable week for us on the XAUUSD, and it's quite a long time we've experienced this kind of momentum in this community here. So well done to everyone who has been part of this profitable journey. So right now, what we want to be doing, of course, you know what we want to be doing right now, and I think I've mentioned this countless of time on both my TradingView and Telegram platform, that we do want to be moving our stop losses accordingly to secure this current sell position. And for me personally, I will be suggesting that anywhere above that descending trend line makes quite a lot of sense to secure this position. So anywhere between the 1,925 and the 1,922 area seems very appropriate, as of course we need to give enough room for price action to breathe. So now, with a well secured position right here, what is going to be our next line of action? Now, let's run through my commentary this morning as regards to how we are going to be managing the XAUUSD today. So for those who are with me on my TradingView and Telegram platform, you definitely have gotten an update in that regard. But for those who are not, we shall be running through that right now, and let's see what we have. Okay. So this is how we have been monitoring the XAUUSD since the beginning of this week. And this morning, although okay, this is this morning right here. So I said here that we've capitalized on the market shift towards the US dollar, securing over 600 pips across 6 positions. Investors are increasingly turning to the US dollar as a safe haven amid growing global recession fears, coupled with the positive US ISM Services PMI data for August, which of course came out yesterday. So I said here that we should safeguard our position as the market consolidates ahead of today's release of the weekly initial jobless claim, which of course will be giving us some cues into what our next line of action will be. And of course, remember that we have some speeches coming in from Fed officials today. In fact, we have like 4 or 5 speeches coming up today, which definitely will be giving us an insight. And one thing here as technical traders is that prior to this event, we want to sniff through the current market structure to look out for patterns and structures that will enable us to position ourselves for the next big move. Now, let's go back into the chart from a technical standpoint. Now, looking at where price action is right now, you would have noticed that since price tested the $1,916 level during the before the New York session began yesterday, is it? Yes, during the later part of the New York session yesterday, we saw price drop into that area, and since price tested that level, one thing you will notice here is that sellers have continued to struggle as we begin to see signs of buying traction resume around this area. And what does this tell us? It tells us that probably majority in the market are considering the gold as cheap enough to buy right now. But we are not going to be jumping into conclusion, as we shall wait for the structures to tell us what to do. Now, the lowest point price has been for this week is the 1,916, which of course you do want to be marking out on your chart right now. Then we have a resistant line within this range. As you will see, since price tested that 1,916, price has fall into a range which further emphasizes the level of indecision and uncertainty in this market. So we have the resistant line of this range at the 1,920 level, very strong psychological area considering the round figure of that price. So we do want to be marking out this level on our chart right now. So we have the 1,920 level. So I will be giving this a blue color and placing it at the top right hand side. Then we also give this one too a blue color to differentiate it from the previous structures. Now we have a range right now where price has been consolidating within since yesterday's New York session to further emphasize the level of indecision here. And of course, for those who have been with us in this community for a while now, you know how we do it whenever price action falls into a range and forms a flat channel. We want to exercise patience, waiting for a signal to come, which obviously would reflect on the chart as either a breakdown of the support line to give us an opportunity to sell, which means a downtrend continuation, or a breakout of the resistance line of that range, which will give us an opportunity to buy, which could turn out to be a reversal setup to guide an uptrend move. Now, in addition to this range, one more thing I would like us to acknowledge here is the nature of price action since last week Wednesday. And in fact, since last week Wednesday, price has been on a strong bearish momentum, and in fact we have a descending trend line to emphasize the strength of the sellers in this market. So you can see price still remains right below the descending trend line, which of course, if price remains below the descending trend line, we have no business buying that asset. However, if we start considering the bullish expectations here, the buy pressure we begin to notice here. Let me zoom things right in, as this is going to be our center of focus for today. Now, if you look at the structure here, you will see that price has finally come back into that resistance line. Now, the question right now is, will this resistance line be broken? And if it gets broken, then the chances of a reversal pattern will be considered here. And one interesting thing about the 1,920 level is the fact that it also Let me adjust this a little bit. Okay, it also shares a confluence with that descending trend line. Now, if price action at any point in time today breaks out of that descending trend line, then this will be the first time price will be breaking that descending trend line in the last 1 week, and it's going to also be a sign that that trend line may no longer have the capacity to continue to negate that bullish attempt. And if this happens, we want to be getting ready for a momentum shift. So if we are going to be buying the XAUUSD today, we want to see price break out of both the 1,920 and of course the descending trend line to give us a signal that we want to be getting ready to buy. Now, if this happens, remember that we are not going to be getting too excited here. We are not having a buy stop order. Instead, we want to wait for confirmations to happen before we jump into any position here. Now, if price breaks out of that structure, we scale down into our lower time frame to look out for signs that buyers will be dictating the pace going forward, and this would reflect on the chart as price sellers finding it difficult to climb back below that descending trend line, and this will happen like this. We shall see reversal patterns like this, double bottom structure, buying pressure around, below or above the 1,920 to give us a good confirmation to join an uptrend move. And in fact, we have multiple levels like the $1,922.50 level, $1,924 area, $1,926 and the $1,928.50 level to add more position if price action goes on to break out and retest the structure. So let's keep this in mind while we continue to monitor price action here. So this is the only condition based on this current market structure that will make us consider buying the XAUUSD for today. So let's keep that in mind, mark that level out, and let's use it as a reference point to guide our buying decisions for today. However, in as much as we're looking out for a potential bullish momentum, considering the buy pressure we observed around the 1,916, we still cannot ignore the potentials of sellers here. Of course, sellers have been the one dictating the pace in the last 1 week, and it would not be reasonable that we ignore the potential that sellers could still push price further to the downside. Now, what are the things I will be looking out for here to be part of a bearish move at this point? Well, personally, we are profitable so far this week, so we can afford to have a sell stop order again below the 1,916 to join a downtrend continuation. In fact, I would need price to take out all the buy positions around the zone to feel comfortable adding more sell positions to our existing trade. So this is our view here on the XAUUSD for today. So let's mark this level out. Our center of focus for today is right within the 1,920 and the 1,916, where depending on where the breakout happens is likely going to determine where price will be going for today. So of course, if anything new happens or any significant evolution of price action happens, I will be giving you updates on both my TradingView and Telegram platform. If you have any questions whatsoever as regards to this current setup, or probably you need me to clarify a certain aspect of this, feel free to let me know in the comment section. So I will be taking the next 10 to 15 seconds as always to see if there are any questions whatsoever before we move right into the last financial asset for today. All right. So in the absence of no questions, I want to assume that we are all on the same page here. So we shall be moving right into the next and last financial asset on our watch list for today. So the next financial asset on our watch list for today is the USDJPY, and interestingly, we've begun to notice some bearish traction after taking advantage of a very strong bullish momentum since the beginning of the week. Remember, the USDJPY presented a very simple setup for us right here on Monday, and in fact we saw this range happen where price was confined within the 146.350 and the 146.00 area after that strong impulsive bullish momentum bringing price into that area. Though we had a level of uncertainty around that area, and we remained very patient to wait for the signal to come to give us an opportunity to trade. And in fact, we saw the breakout of the resistance line, which triggered our first buy position for the week. And in fact, for those who missed out on that opportunity, we saw how the market came back, retest the structure to incite an uptrend continuation. So since then, we have been buying this asset. Remember, we also added one more positions at the breakout of the 147.00 area. So we rode this move all the way to the upside. In that first move, we had about 150 pips move when the sell came in. Now, during our live session yesterday, we talked about how to capitalize on the uptrend continuation, and we emphasized on the importance of this ascending trend line that you will see here. Now, we said here that if price respects this ascending trend line, we shall be looking out for more buying opportunity. And during our live session yesterday, we were at this point. Remember, we saw this. We saw buy pressure resume exactly above that ascending trend line. And I made mention that if we have a situation where price forms something like a double bottom structure, which technically is a reversal pattern, we want to be part of the uptrend continuation. And to guide that idea, we had our neckline identified at the 147.450, as you will see here. And when price broke out of that structure, we had our buy position triggered. And in fact, price moved about how many pips? It moved about 45 pips before we were taken out of that position. And I do hope you moved your stop losses accordingly. If you had done that, you must have been taken out at the worst case scenario of break even. So with that being said here, what is going to be our plans for today? Now, I shared a commentary this morning as regards to the USDJPY, so I would like us to run through that commentary and see what I said we are going to be doing on the USDJPY for today. So if you look at what I said this morning, I think it was a very long comment right here, so let's look at it together. So I said, in response to mounting concerns over the potential intervention to support the yen, all buy positions have been closed as price comes back to our entry zone. This decision aligns with a strong warning issued by Japan's top diplomat Masato Kanda. He had a speech yesterday where he signaled the potential intervention measures that Japan might do if price continues to move to the upside. And of course, you know what this does to the market. It sends panic into the market, as those who have buy positions running will definitely want to be closing in their positions, because no one knows when this intervention will happen. So to safeguard this, a lot of people are beginning to close in their position, and this is reflected on the chart as selling pressure at this particular point in time. So as a result, selling pressure has regained momentum, with buyers encountering formidable resistance around the 147.600 and 147.800 zone. This situation elevates the likelihood of a breakdown in ascending trend line, which could trigger a substantial sell-off. We will closely monitor this development and adapt our strategy. So now, following the comment by Canada yesterday, that is the what's it called again, the Japan's top diplomat on currency. What we are seeing on this market is quite interesting, as you will see now that since the beginning of this week, since Tuesday to be precise, we saw that when price got into this area, we have seen struggle. And at the point where price did a retrace back into that ascending trend line to incite an uptrend continuation, we saw the news that this Kasanda gave a speech regarding a Bank of Japan, possible Bank of Japan intervention. And as you will see here during the Asian session, we begin to notice selling pressure resume again around that area. For me personally, this is a sign that we might likely be seeing a bearish momentum here. So what is it we are going to be doing in this market to capitalize on this move? Now, well, our decision is going to be around this ascending trend line, which we spotted and has been respected since the beginning of the week. And one thing you will notice here in the last couple of hours is that price has finally broken down that ascending trend line. Now, with the breakdown of that ascending trend line, if price remains below the structure, then I'm of the opinion that we are likely going bearish at this point in time. So a breakdown retest will be all we need, but for those who are profitable so far this week, we can afford to leverage on the profit we had made so far to capitalize on that bearish momentum. So personally, I have a sell stop order sitting below the 147.450 to capitalize on that bearish sell-off here. And in fact, we have multiple levels, remember, which we can use to maximize the potential of this move if price continues to drop to the downside. So you do want to be marking out these levels on your chart, as we shall be needing them as reference point to guide our decisions for today. So at this point in time, things are looking very bearish to me personally, since price remains below that ascending trend line. However, we still cannot ignore the potentials of buyers too as well. Remember, that is how we do in this community. We ensure we are on standby to capitalize on any potential move that the market presents to us. Now, for me to consider buying the USDJPY today, I will need price to break out of that resisted line at the 147.800. Remember, this is the highest point price action has been since the beginning of the week, and this level here has been a major barrier for buyers since the beginning of the week. Now, I would need price to take out all the sell positions there for me to feel comfortable joining an uptrend continuation. And in fact, if price comes back to retest the structure and respect the ascending trend line one more time, this will be a beautiful opportunity to maximize the potential of that bullish move. So that is the only condition at this point in time that will make me consider buying the USDJPY. Anything outside this is screaming sell for me. So let's see how this will play out in the next couple of hours, and of course I will be with you in the comment section of both my TradingView and Telegram platform to give you updates on what I think is going to be happening if anything new comes up. So this is what I have for you on the USDJPY today. So let's see how the market will play out. Our center of focus for today is between the 147.800 and the 147.450. So you do want to be marking out these levels, and don't forget to mark out the trend line too as well, as this will be necessary in making our independent trading decisions for today. So it has been a great moment. We were able to attend to three financial assets today, the GBPUSD, the XAUUSD, and of course the USDJPY. And if you have any questions regarding what we discussed today, I will be taking the next 10 to 15 seconds to see if there are any questions before I draw the curtain for today. So in the absence of no questions, I want to assume that we are all on the same page here. And in fact, it has been a wonderful moment with you guys here today. We were able to trade three major financial assets, which we have been monitoring since the beginning of this week, and we've been doing pretty well on all of these assets. And we're able to identify simple setups using trend lines, key levels, and of course chart patterns to gain valuable insight into what is likely going to be happening during the London and the New York session today. And I do hope we were able to mark out those levels on our chart, as it will be of a good reference point to guide our independent trading decisions. Now, I already dropped the link to the XAUUSD live monitoring window right in the comment box below. You want to check them out, you want to click on it, click on the notify me button so you can get notified as soon as we come online. The XAUUSD live monitoring window was a platform that was born in the month of July, and for the last 6 to 7 weeks now we have been running this window successfully. And for those who don't know, the XAUUSD live monitoring window is an avenue where all of us here in this community come together to monitor the real-time action on the XAUUSD and see how we position ourselves strategically for each moves, and of course how we also manage our positions on that asset. So you want to be part of that session, engage in the comment section too as well, and let's make it an exciting experience. It comes in 5 to 10 minutes into the New York session, so let's get prepared and be part of that session. And once again, I really appreciate every single one of you. I see your comment, Damope Dan. Good morning. Damope is asking, thank you for your straightforward and profound analysis as always. I am hoping that you will also add Euro USD to the pairs on your watch list and live analysis. I saw it on your trading view profile. All right. Okay. Thank you, Damope. I really appreciate your feedbacks, and of course your suggestions are well appreciated. Well, personally, my schedule is very tight. Previously I normally do 4 assets on our watch list, but I had to drop one because of my tight schedule. But I will see what I can do about that one, and if I could intermittently do something on the Euro USD, I will try and do that. Thank you for your feedbacks. I really appreciate. Thank you, Adene Babalola. I see your comments. I'm glad to have you around, and thanks for the support so far. So on this note, Abdul Jimo too, I see your comment too. Thank you very much. And in fact, I really appreciate your support, guys. Let's click on the thumbs up if you have found this content useful and beneficial in making your independent trading decisions for today. Kindly click the like button. Your likes are very valuable to me, and in fact it helps the YouTube algorithm promote the video to a wider audience of traders who may find this content beneficial. Thank you very much as you do so. And if you haven't already, I encourage you to follow me on this channel, Sheriff Daramola, for more of this insightful content. And in fact, whenever I share new ideas, you will get notified as soon as they come online. Thank you very much, guys. I really appreciate your support, and looking forward to seeing you right in the comment section of both my Trading View Telegram platform and of course during the XAU USD live monitoring window as we continue to monitor price action. Do have a wonderful day, everyone. Bye bye.